Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing the new Zoologist release, Sloth. I've only got the little vial here. I was fortunate enough to get it about a month ago and kind of feel it out before I posted my thoughts here. Now that it has been released, I didn't want to, just jump the gun and steal Victor's thunder. But I don't have the picture either, but from what I have seen of the picture on his Instagram, it's kind of this whimsical vagabond, kind of hobo sloth character, and I think that's exactly what it is. I was either imagining that or him in PJs, so it was one of those two. I think it was a really good direction. I spoke to Victor briefly on an email. Thank you for your time. He said this is an oak moss themed scent, but has herbs and spices and things that were also traditionally used to help sleep, which makes sense because the sloth is so slow that oak moss grows on it, and because the sloth sleeps so often, I don't know, it's like something like 20 hours a day, or is that a koala? I don't know. But they sleep so much, so it has these kind of sleepy time ingredients to it. I'll read you the notes list right now. I've got it pulled up. Top notes are chamomile, acai, I know it's like a tomato thing. Lavender and violet leaf, heart notes, marigold, beeswax, anise, jadamanzi, haven't heard of that, jasmine and cumin. Base notes are hay, frankincense, myrrh, mushroom, oak moss, vanilla, tonka. So it's interesting because you have this kind of dichotomy. You have this oak moss kind of green basey feel with these kind of lighter kind of tea spice notes that you would find in kind of a sleepy time tea, things you would take before bed, drink before bed. And upon first smell, I get that kind of tea spice chamomile lavender thing. I drink a lot of like that sleepy time chamomile vanilla cardamom tea, and this smells very similar, but there's no tea note. So if that makes sense, so it's the spiced herbal tea without the tea with all the spices and herbs. And that's what I get. I think that's very similar. I recognized it when I first smelled it. I'm like, I've smelled this before. I smelled this a lot. So, and it's good. It's really relaxing. It's very inviting. It's nice because you need that to kind of balance out that mossy base you're getting. Now, when I first smelled it, and this was passed among a circle of people, I communicate with a little clique niche of Fragcom. And when we all first smelled it, we thought it was kind of a leathery kind of apple cinnamon because we were getting those spices, those sweet spices, but we weren't necessarily picking up the specifics of it because, it's hard. Zoologist fragrances can be very complex, very deep, and it's really hard to pick apart those notes, especially if it's well blended. But we got this kind of, and I mean in a pleasant way, kind of this wet fur skunky note to it. And when I say skunk, I don't mean that. It's just kind of this wet animalic. But it wasn't an animalic I've typically smelled. It's the oak moss is a little barnyardy, but it's not a polarizing barnyardy. Dare I use the word fecal? It's not that. What it smells like kind of is this kind of wet, furry, warm, inviting, cuddly kind of animalic. I think it's a very inviting animalic. I'm not going to go ahead and say, oh, this is a super friendly animalic, but this is an animalic that I don't think will challenge a lot of people. So, and if you're into oak moss, you're going to love this, of course. And let me get into the base notes because I think the base notes are really interesting. The hay, frankincense, the mushroom, that really, mushroom is such a strange ingredient, and I think it's really interesting. And I don't know if I'm specifically picking up mushroom because there's so many different kinds and they all have different smells, different things. But it kind of adds this soily, earthy feel to it. And it is kind of this soil, but it is kind of also this arboreal feel. So, because the moth is up in the sloth is up in the tree, but you kind of have that rainforesty feel. So we're not just looking at the sloth, we're looking at the whole tree, we're looking at his environment. That's what I like about zoologists when they do kind of an environmental snapshot rather than the animal snapshot. You kind of get that hay. The hay with the oak moss is maybe giving me that barnyard kind of feel to it. That's probably what's doing it. And I don't mean, I really don't mean like an offensive barnyard because some people get scared by that, and that's really not the direction it's going. I'm just saying it's kind of this wet fur. Let me move into the top notes. So I get the chamomile, absolutely get that. I recognize that. The acai berry, I get that kind of that berry sweetness. The lavender, I also get that. Like I said, a lot of these things I recognized from kind of the spiced tea. Violet leaf, yes. Moving into the heart notes. You've got the beeswax, the cumin, the jasmine. I get that. I totally get the beeswax. Bee lovers, this is not bee, okay? So when it's not a honey bomb, it's not tons of, you hear the tonka, you hear the beeswax. Oh, it's bee. But it's not, it's sweetened. It's this kind of sweetened furry goodness. It's very warming. Oh, did my laptop turn off? It's very inviting. The cumin, I kind of get that as a bit of a spicy note. Uh-oh, did my okay, here we go. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of breaking character here. Jadamanzi, I don't know what that is. I really don't, so I can't speak for it. But kind of you have this floral kind of sweet in the heart, which is really nice because it's not getting cooked off at the top. It doesn't last long. It kind of stays longer than would be expected, which is good because you really need that roundness for the base notes. You need that roundness for kind of that base from the moss and the hay. Frankincense and the myrrh, it's good. I mean, this is one of those fireside scents. I say this would be one of the most fireside-friendly zoologist fragrances, like a rhino would be a very fireside-friendly one. Regarding what gender I would recommend this to, this could go either way, but I would say this leans more masculine than feminine. It has those kind of feminine spice, sweet notes, but the base has got some bass, and I think that really pushes this more toward the masculine side. However, this is not a polarizingly masculine fragrance like, say, Rhino. This is just one that leans a little masculine, just like Chameleon leans a little feminine. It's unisex, but it has a preference, and I'd say this has a male preference. What time of year would you wear this? I would say fall. I would say you wouldn't want to wear this in the heat. I would say this is kind of a cooler weather scent. However, it's up to you how hard on the trigger you go. You could wear this, spring. I wouldn't recommend summer. Spring would be okay, but there's people out there. I think Wasp from the Loft, they'll do like 6 sprays of Hyrax in summer. There's enthusiasts like that. This is just kind of a general take on it. I like it. Is it full bottle worthy for me? No, it's not that I don't like it. It's just, I already have a nice zoologist collection. And the niche this fills is not necessarily one that I need filled at this time. However, if you're looking to get into zoologists, it tickles my nose a little bit. I think I'm like slightly like oak moss tingles my nose. But I know oak moss is kind of like, some people say like, oh, it's banned and stuff like that. But I think there's ways around it. I think, artificial notes or there's like extracts you can use. Anyways, oak moss ran over. So for me, I wouldn't get a bottle of it, but I like it a lot. It's just not something I need on my shelf. I'm picky and selective, as you guys know. Absolutely worth a try, though, for zoologist fans. You got to try it. It's Sloth, But that's all, folks. Looking forward to next time. Thank you.